I want you to think about the last time you had something to say in English, but chose not to say it. Maybe you were in a group, maybe someone asked a question. Maybe you knew the answer. Maybe you even formed the sentence quietly inside your head. But instead of speaking, you stayed silent. Then a few seconds later, somebody else said almost exactly what you were thinking. And you sat there with that strange feeling. You knew you could have spoken, but you did not. That feeling is important because it tells us something. Your problem is not always English. Sometimes your English is already there. The real problem is that fear stands between what you know and what you allow yourself to say. And for the next 7 days, that is what I want you to work on. Not perfect grammar, not sounding impressive, not becoming the loudest person in the room. I want you to become someone who is willing to be heard. That is different, because confidence in speaking does not mean you never feel nervous. Confidence means nervousness is no longer making every decision for you. You may still feel your heart beating faster. You may still worry about a mistake. You may still wonder how your accent sounds. But you speak anyway. That is the skill. So right now, I want you to say one sentence aloud. Say, "My English does not have to be perfect before people can hear it." Again. My English does not have to be perfect before people can hear it. One more time. My English does not have to be perfect before people can hear it. Good. Now I want you to notice your reaction to that sentence. Did part of you resist it? Did your mind say, "But people will judge me"? But what if I sound stupid? But what if I make an obvious mistake? But what if they speak better English than me? That is exactly where we begin. Because fear becomes powerful when it remains vague. You simply feel nervous, but you never ask what you are actually afraid of. So let us make the fear specific. Finish this sentence. When I speak English in front of other people, I'm afraid that, say the ending aloud. Maybe they will notice my mistakes. Maybe I will forget what I want to say. Maybe my pronunciation will sound bad. Maybe someone will laugh. Maybe I will look less intelligent than I really am. Whatever your answer is, say it clearly. Do not hide the fear from yourself. Now ask one more question. If that happens, what would I do? Suppose you make a mistake. What happens next? You correct it, or you continue. Suppose you forget a word. What happens? You explain another way. Suppose somebody does not understand you. What happens? You repeat. Suppose your pronunciation is imperfect. What happens? The conversation still continues. Fear often presents these situations as disasters, but most of them are simply moments. Moments you can survive, and confidence grows when you collect evidence that you can survive them. So I want you to stop trying to remove fear before you speak. That may keep you waiting for years. Instead, learn to speak while fear is still present. This is the first change. Say, "I can be nervous and still speak." Repeat, "I can be nervous and still speak." Again, "I can be nervous and still speak." That sentence is much more useful than, "I must not feel nervous." You are human. Nervousness is allowed. Silence does not have to be automatic. Now let us practice something that may feel almost too simple. I want you to say your name aloud in English. Just your name. Now say, "Hi, I'm." Complete it. Again. "Hi, I'm." Why start here? Because your voice needs positive experiences. If every speaking exercise feels difficult, your brain begins associating English with danger. So we are going to create small, successful moments first. Now say where you are from. "I'm from." Say it. Now one thing you do. "I work in," or "I study," or "I spend most of my time." Use what is true. Now connect those pieces. Hi, I'm underscore underscore underscore. I'm from underscore underscore underscore. I underscore underscore underscore. Say it naturally. That is a tiny introduction. Maybe you have said these sentences many times before. Good. The goal is not novelty. The goal is comfort while being heard. Now imagine there is one person sitting in front of you. Not a crowd. One person. They smile and ask, "So, how are you?" Do not give the perfect answer. Give a real one. "I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little tired today. I'm good, just busy." Say one. Now imagine they ask, "How has your week been?" Answer with one honest sentence. Good. You are not performing. You are connecting. That distinction matters. Fear becomes stronger when you imagine every conversation as a performance where people are scoring you. But conversation is usually not an exam. Most people are trying to understand what you mean. That is all. And when you remember that, your job becomes smaller. You do not have to impress. You have to communicate. Now I want you to practice a new rule. Every time fear tells you, "Say nothing until the sentence is perfect," you will replace it with, "Say the simplest true sentence." Let us test that. Question: what did you do yesterday? Fear may try to build a beautiful answer. Ignore it. Say the simplest true sentence. I worked. I stayed home. I met a friend. I went shopping. Whatever is true. Now add one thing only if you want. I worked most of the day. Good. Now another question. What are you doing this weekend? Simplest true sentence. Go. Another. How do you feel about speaking English? Answer honestly. Maybe. I still get nervous. Good. Now add. But I want to improve. Excellent. That is real communication. You do not need to hide behind silence just because your first sentence is simple. Now I want you to think about something strange. You may speak your first language with confidence, even though you occasionally forget words, repeat yourself, change sentences halfway through, or say something badly. Why does that not destroy your confidence? Because you trust your ability to continue. That trust is what you need in English. Not the belief that nothing will go wrong. The belief that when something goes wrong, you can handle it. So confidence is not perfection. Confidence is recovery. Let us train that. Say, I lost my... Stop. Pretend you forgot the word. Now say, sorry, I mean the thing I used to. Finish the explanation. Good. Now intentionally start a sentence badly. Say, yesterday I go, sorry, yesterday I went to. Finish it. Good. Now start one idea and change direction. I think the best way is, actually, let me say that differently. Then continue. This is not failure. This is conversational control. You are allowed to repair. And once you accept that, the fear of making the first mistake becomes smaller. Now I want you to work on your body. Because fear does not only live in thoughts, it lives in your shoulders, your jaw, your breathing, your posture, your eyes. When you are afraid to speak, your body may become smaller before you say a single word. Your shoulders move forward. Your voice becomes quiet. Your breathing becomes shallow. You avoid eye contact. Then your body sends another message back to your brain. This is dangerous. So sit or stand slightly straighter. Not stiff, just open. Relax your shoulders. Take one normal breath. Now say, I have something to say. Again, I have something to say. This time a little more clearly. I have something to say. Good. Now, let me explain what I mean. Say it. Let me explain what I mean. Notice how different a sentence feels when your body is not trying to disappear. Confidence is not only inside the mind. Sometimes you have to give your body a different instruction. Now I want you to imagine a situation that normally makes you nervous. You are in a small group. 3 people are speaking English. You understand most of what they are saying. You have an opinion, but you wait. You tell yourself, I'll speak when there is a perfect opening. The perfect opening never comes. So your new rule is this: enter early. Do not wait until you have been silent for 15 minutes. The longer you wait, the heavier the first sentence feels. Speak once near the beginning. It can be tiny. Yeah, I agree. That happened to me too. I've heard about that. Really? I think so too. That first sentence breaks the wall. Then your second contribution becomes easier. Let us practice. Imagine someone says, "Traffic was terrible this morning." You say, "Yeah, it was really bad." Say it. Now someone says, "I think this place is getting more expensive." You respond, "I've noticed that too." Say it. Someone says, "I'm thinking about learning another language." You respond, "That sounds interesting." Say it. These are not impressive sentences. They are entry sentences. And entry sentences matter. Because once your voice enters the conversation, fear loses some of its power. Now I want you to practice entering an opinion. Say, "I think," again. "I think," now. "For me," again. "For me," now. "The way I see it," repeat. "The way I see it." These openings help you claim space. Now answer. Is it better to work alone or with other people? Start with, "For me, go." Do not over-prepare. Another. Is social media helpful or distracting? Start with, "The way I see it." Answer. Good. Now imagine somebody disagrees with you. This is where many learners become afraid again, not because their English disappears, because they think disagreement requires perfect language. It does not. You can say, "I see it differently." Repeat, "I see it differently," or "I understand your point, but I'm not sure I agree." Say it, or "That's one way to look at it." Repeat, you are allowed to disagree politely. Your English does not have to become invisible because another person sounds more confident. Now I want you to repeat something important. Someone else speaking well does not make my English disappear. Again, someone else speaking well does not make my English disappear. This matters because comparison can silence you. You hear someone who speaks quickly. They know more vocabulary. Their accent is different. They seem comfortable. And immediately your brain says, "Do not speak. You will sound worse." But conversation is not a competition. Their ability is not evidence against yours. You are allowed to be at your level, and you are allowed to speak from that level. Now I want you to think about the people you feel safest speaking English with. Maybe a friend, maybe another learner, maybe someone patient. Why do you speak better around them? Did your English suddenly improve? No. The language was already there. The environment changed your access to it. That teaches us something powerful. Your ability may be stronger than your performance under fear. So your 7-day confidence challenge will gradually change the pressure, not from 0 to terrifying. Small steps. Day 1 begins where you feel safe. Day 7 moves closer to the situations you normally avoid. But before we go there, I want you to understand exposure. If you avoid every uncomfortable speaking situation, your brain receives a message. Good, we escaped. That situation must have been dangerous. Then the fear returns next time, often stronger. But if you enter a small uncomfortable situation and survive it, your brain receives different evidence. I was nervous, but nothing terrible happened. That is how fear begins losing authority. So we will not wait for fear to disappear. We will give your brain better evidence. Start with something tiny. Today, record a 10-second voice message in English. Do not send it anywhere, just record it. Say, "Today I'm working on speaking with more confidence. I feel a little uncomfortable, but I'm doing it anyway." Record. Play it once. Do not analyze every sound. Just listen to the fact that your voice exists in English. That is evidence. Now record a second one. 20 seconds. Talk about what you are doing today. Again, do not chase perfection. Save it if you want. Delete it if you want. The important thing is that you spoke. Tomorrow, make the challenge slightly more visible. Maybe send a short English voice message to someone you trust. Something ordinary. "Hey, I just wanted to check if we're still meeting tomorrow." Or, "Hi, I hope you're doing well. Let me know when you're free." The content does not matter much. The action matters. You are teaching yourself, "My English can leave my private space." That is confidence training. Now let us practice voice messages. Say, "Hey, I just wanted to ask you something." Repeat, "Hey, I just wanted to ask you something." Now, let me know when you have time. Repeat, "Let me know when you have time." Now, "I'll talk to you later." Repeat, "I'll talk to you later." Good. Do not prepare a 10-minute speech. Send something simple. Build tolerance for being heard. Now on the next day, I want you to speak English somewhere low risk, maybe with someone who already knows you are learning. Maybe with a shop employee if appropriate. Maybe during an online exchange. Maybe ask one simple question, not 5. 1. Do you have this in another size? Is this available? What time does it start? Could you tell me where this is? Your goal is not a perfect conversation. Your goal is to initiate. There is a psychological difference between answering when someone forces you to speak and choosing to begin yourself. Initiation builds agency. Say, "I can begin the conversation." Again, "I can begin the conversation." Now practice one initiation. "Excuse me, can I ask you something?" Repeat. "Excuse me, can I ask you something?" Again, clear. "Excuse me, can I ask you something?" Good. Now I want to address embarrassment. Maybe you have made a mistake in English before and someone corrected you. You still remember it. Perhaps everyone else forgot, but you remember. And now, every time you speak, you are trying to avoid feeling that embarrassment again. That is exhausting. So let us change the meaning of correction. Correction is not proof that you should have stayed silent. Correction is information that became available because you spoke. If you had remained silent, you would not have received it. Speaking revealed the gap. Now you can improve it. That is useful. So say, "If I speak and discover a mistake, I learned something." Again, "If I speak and discover a mistake, I learned something." This does not mean you must enjoy every correction. Some people correct badly. Some interrupt too much. Some make learners uncomfortable. You are still allowed to choose supportive environments, but do not interpret every correction as humiliation. Sometimes it is simply data. Now I want you to intentionally make one harmless mistake while practicing alone. Say, "She go to work every day." Now correct it. "She goes to work every day." Good. Did anything terrible happen? No. You corrected. Now, "I am agree." Correct it. "I agree." Good. Mistakes become less frightening when you practice responding to them calmly. Now I want you to learn a sentence that can save you socially when you become nervous. Say, "Give me a second. I know what I want to say." Repeat. "Give me a second. I know what I want to say." Again. This sentence is powerful. Because sometimes the fear is not that you do not know. You simply need time. Take the time. Another. I'm trying to find the right word. Repeat. I'm trying to find the right word. Another. I know what I mean. I'm just not sure how to say it. Repeat. These phrases keep you present instead of disappearing into embarrassment. Now imagine somebody asks, "What do you think about that?" Your mind goes blank. Instead of saying nothing, say, "Give me a second. I'm trying to organize my thoughts." Then begin. You just bought yourself time. Now practice. Question. What is one change you would make in your city? Say, "Give me a second. I'm trying to organize my thoughts." Now answer. Good. You are learning that silence is not your only option when the brain needs time. Now I want to talk about your voice. Some learners speak English much more quietly than their first language. Not because the sentence requires it, because they are subconsciously trying not to be noticed. I want you to test this. Say something in your first language at normal conversational volume. Notice the strength. Now say, "I'm practicing my English." Use the same volume. Not shouting, just present. Again, "I'm practicing my English." Now, "I want to become more comfortable speaking." Say it clearly. Good. Your listener should not have to lean forward because you are apologizing with your volume. You are allowed to take up enough sound for your message to be heard. Now let us work on eye contact. You do not need to stare. But if you look at the floor every time you speak English, your own body may reinforce the feeling that you are doing something shameful. Try this. Look toward one point at eye level. Say, "I think that's a good idea." Again, "Now, I'm not sure I agree." Again, "Now, can you explain that again?" Good. Practice saying ordinary English while looking forward. Your posture communicates to your nervous system as much as your words communicate to the listener. Now think about one English sentence you avoid because you are afraid of saying it wrong. Say it anyway. Right now. Do not ask me whether it is perfect. Say it. Good. Now say it again. The second time, notice how the fear is already slightly different, maybe still there. But now you have one repetition. Now another. 3 times. This is what exposure looks like in miniature. The sentence does not become less scary because somebody gives you permission. It becomes less scary because you experience yourself saying it. Now I want to change the challenge. For the next minute, I do not want you to focus on grammar at all. Your topic is something I care about. It can be family, work, a goal, a hobby, a dream, a problem, anything. Speak for 1 minute. Your only job is sincerity. If the grammar is imperfect, continue. If a word disappears, use a simpler word. If you pause, continue after the pause. Begin. Keep going. Do not turn this into a language test. Talk to me. Tell me why it matters. Tell me what happened. Tell me how you feel. Good. Now ask yourself, did I communicate something real? If yes, that matters. Confidence grows when English becomes connected to your real identity. If you only use English in artificial exercises, it can feel like a costume. But when you use English to express something you genuinely believe, the language begins becoming yours. That is why I want your practice this week to include real opinions. Not only safe textbook topics. Answer this. What is something you believe people worry about too much? Speak. Now. What is something you wish more people understood? Speak. Now. What is one thing you have become better at in the last few years? Speak. These questions reveal you. And being visible is part of confidence. Now let us talk about accents. Maybe your accent embarrasses you. You hear yourself and think, I do not sound native. That thought may be blocking you more than the accent itself. Your goal is clarity. not erasure. You can improve pronunciation. You can improve rhythm. You can become easier to understand. But your accent is not evidence that you are failing. It is evidence that you know more than one language. So the question is not, do I sound exactly like somebody else? The useful question is, can people understand me? If yes, communication is happening. If not, improve the unclear parts. Specific improvement, not shame. Say, my goal is clear communication. Repeat. My goal is clear communication. Again. My goal is clear communication. Good. Now I want to prepare you for one difficult type of person. The person who speaks very fast. You may become intimidated immediately. Their speed makes you feel slow. Do not chase them. You can say, could you slow down a little? Repeat. Could you slow down a little? Or, I caught most of that, but not the last part. Repeat. I caught most of that, but not the last part. Or, can you say that one more time? Repeat. Asking someone to repeat is not failure. Pretending you understood when you did not is usually less useful. Now imagine the person speaks fast again. You miss something. Say, sorry, I didn't catch that. Repeat. Good. You stayed in the conversation. That is confidence. Now another difficult situation. Someone interrupts you. You lose your thought. Instead of disappearing, say, let me finish this thought. Repeat. Let me finish this thought. Or softer. Just 1 second. I want to finish this point. Repeat. You are allowed to protect your turn politely. Again, confidence is not aggression. It is presence. Now I want you to practice speaking while someone imaginary disagrees. Say, I understand what you're saying. Repeat. Then, but my experience has been different. Repeat. Together. I understand what you're saying, but my experience has been different. Good. Now, I may be wrong, but this is how I see it. Repeat. This language helps when your certainty is not absolute. You do not need to hide your opinion because you cannot defend it perfectly. You can speak with humility and still speak. Now let us talk about laughter. Maybe you are afraid someone will laugh at your English. That fear can be deeply uncomfortable. So ask yourself, if someone laughs because you are learning a second language, what does that tell you about your effort? Nothing. What does it tell you about them? More. Do not hand one rude reaction control over your future voice. You cannot build your life around preventing every person from judging you. Someone may judge your accent. Someone may judge your grammar. Someone may judge your clothes. Someone may judge your job. Someone may judge your silence too. If judgment is unavoidable, choose growth. Speak. Now say, I would rather improve publicly than stay silent privately. Repeat. I would rather improve publicly than stay silent privately. That is strong. But I also want you to be realistic. You do not need to throw yourself into hostile environments. Choose intelligent discomfort, not humiliation. Speak where you have a reasonable chance to learn, then expand. Your confidence should grow through manageable risks. So imagine a ladder. At the bottom, speaking alone. Then, recording yourself. Then, speaking with one trusted person. Then, asking a simple question. Then, joining a short conversation. Then, giving an opinion. Then, speaking in a group. Then perhaps, presenting. You do not jump from step 1 to step 8 overnight. You climb. Now identify your current level. Which step feels easy? Which step feels slightly uncomfortable but possible? That is your next step. Not the most terrifying one. The next one. Say, my next step is. Finish it. Maybe. My next step is sending one English voice message. Maybe. My next step is speaking English for 2 minutes with a friend. Maybe. My next step is asking one question in English. Make it real. Now let us create your 7 days of confidence training. On the first day, your mission is visibility with yourself. Record your voice. Listen once. Do not criticize your face, accent, or personality. Simply notice, that is me speaking English. On the second day, speak English with one safe person for a short time, even 2 minutes. Your mission is not correctness. Your mission is staying present. On the third day, initiate something small. Ask a question. Send the first message. Start the conversation. Do not wait to be invited into English. On the fourth day, express a real opinion. Something you genuinely think, not a memorized sentence. Your mission is to let your personality appear. On the fifth day, enter a slightly uncomfortable situation. Maybe a group. Maybe a call. Maybe speaking with someone more fluent. Your mission is not to dominate. Just contribute. On the sixth day, practice recovery. Let yourself make a mistake. Notice it. Correct it or continue. Do not punish yourself. On the seventh day, do something that would have felt difficult on day 1. Then compare. Not your grammar, your courage. Did you speak sooner? Did you hide less? Did you recover faster? Did your voice sound more present? Did you think less about how you looked and more about what you meant? That is progress. Now I want to simulate day 4 right now. You are going to give me one opinion you actually believe. Complete. I think people should go. Now explain why. Do not hide behind. I don't know. Tell me. Good. Now say, another reason is. Add one more. Excellent. Your opinion exists. English carried it. Now day 5 simulation. Imagine 3 people are talking about working from home. You want to contribute. Start. Can I add something? Repeat. Can I add something? Now say your view. Go. That is your entry. You do not need a perfect transition. Sometimes courage begins with 4 words. Can I add something? Now day 6. Intentionally use the wrong word in a sentence. Then repair. Say, I bought it last tomorrow. Sorry. Last week. Good. Laugh if you want. Nothing happened. Now make another error. Correct. You are teaching your nervous system that error does not equal emergency. That is powerful. Now I want you to speak about one embarrassing English moment from your past. 30 seconds. Tell what happened. Maybe you used the wrong word. Maybe you misunderstood. Maybe someone asked you something and you froze. Tell the story. Now finish with, but I survived it. Say it, but I survived it. That memory has been controlling you. Take the lesson from it and release the shame. You are still here. You kept learning. Now let us practice one of the strongest confidence skills. Asking for what you need. Say, could you repeat that? Again. Could you repeat that? Could you explain what you mean? Repeat. Could you explain what you mean? Can I have a moment to think? Repeat. Can I have a moment to think? I'm still learning, so please speak a little more slowly. Repeat. These sentences give you tools. Fear becomes smaller when you know what to do. Now another confidence skill. Admitting what you do not know. Say, I'm not familiar with that. Repeat. I'm not familiar with that. Now, I haven't heard that expression before. Repeat. Now, I'm not sure what that word means. Repeat. That is not weakness. Pretending to know everything makes learning harder. Confident learners can ask. Now I want to challenge your idea of what speaking well means. Maybe you believe it means never pausing, never making mistakes, knowing advanced vocabulary, having a perfect accent, speaking fast, sounding like a native speaker. I want to replace that definition. Speaking well means Your meaning reaches the other person. You can stay present. You can listen. You can respond. You can repair. You can continue. That is a much healthier target. And strangely, when you stop trying to look perfect, your speech often becomes better. Because your attention returns to communication. Now I want you to practice listening while confident. This may sound strange, but fear can make you listen badly. While the other person is talking, you are already rehearsing your answer. You are thinking, what should I say? Is my grammar right? Please do not ask me a question. Then you miss half of what they said. Confidence means trusting yourself enough to listen first. So imagine someone tells you, I've been thinking about changing careers because I don't enjoy what I'm doing anymore. Do not immediately prepare a speech. Respond to the meaning. You might say, that sounds like a big decision. What are you thinking of doing instead? Good. Your attention stayed with them. That makes conversation easier. Now another. I've been really tired lately because work has been crazy. Respond to the person. Maybe. That sounds exhausting. Have you had any time to rest? Good. Conversation is not a performance about you. When you focus on the other person, some of your self-consciousness decreases. That is a powerful trick. Curiosity can compete with fear. So when you become nervous, become curious. Ask, what is this person actually saying? What can I learn about them? What question could I ask? Your attention moves outward. Now let us practice. Imagine someone says, I started going to the gym again. Ask a real question. Go. Someone says, my family is visiting next month. Ask. Someone says, I'm thinking about buying a new car. Ask. Good. You are participating instead of evaluating yourself. Now I want you to prepare for a situation where you know less English than the person speaking with you. Say, they know more English than I do, and I can still speak. Repeat, they know more English than I do, and I can still speak. This is important. You do not need equal ability to have a conversation. One person may know more. Fine. Use what you have. Ask questions. Listen. Respond. Learn. Do not disappear. Now imagine someone uses a word you do not know. Say, what does that mean? Again, what does that mean? Or, I haven't heard that word before. Good. You turned insecurity into learning. Now I want you to do a confidence exercise that has nothing to do with difficult English. Speak for 30 seconds about something you know very well. Maybe your work, a hobby, your hometown, something you cook, a game, anything. Why? Because I want you to feel what happens when the content belongs to you. You may notice you speak more confidently. You already know what you want to say. That tells you something. Sometimes speaking fear gets worse when both the language and topic are unfamiliar. So when building confidence, start with topics you own, then expand. Begin now, 30 seconds. Talk about something you know well. Go. Good. Now make the topic slightly less familiar. Talk about something you are curious about but do not know deeply. Notice the difference. That awareness helps you judge yourself fairly. Do not say, my English disappeared. Maybe the topic became harder. Confidence requires accurate self-evaluation. Now let us talk about silence after a mistake. Maybe you say something wrong and immediately stop contributing. You think, that was embarrassing. I should stay quiet now. No. Your next sentence is important, because the next sentence teaches your brain whether the mistake ended the conversation. So after a mistake, deliberately speak again, even something simple. Imagine you make an error, correct it, then ask, what do you think? Or continue your point. Do not retreat. This is how you break the connection between mistake and withdrawal. Say, one mistake does not end my turn. Repeat, one mistake does not end my turn. Again. Good. Now imagine you mispronounce a word. The other person asks, what? Repeat the word more slowly. If they still do not understand, explain it. That is communication. No drama required. Now we are approaching the end, and I want you to think carefully about what you are really hiding when you hide your English. You are not only hiding mistakes, you may also be hiding your ideas, your humor, your questions, your intelligence, your kindness, your opinions, your personality. Someone cannot hear the perfect English inside your head. They can only hear the English you choose to speak. And imperfect spoken English can create connection. Perfect silent English cannot. That is why this matters. You are not training confidence so that people can admire your grammar. You are training confidence so that you can participate. In classrooms, in meetings, in friendships, in travel, in opportunities, in conversations that may change something for you. If fear keeps you silent, people may never know what you knew. That cost is real. Now I want you to say, my ideas deserve practice. Repeat, my ideas deserve practice. Now, my voice deserves practice. Repeat, my voice deserves practice. And, I do not have to hide while I am learning. Repeat, I do not have to hide while I am learning. Good. Now think about the version of yourself you want to be 7 days from now. Not perfect, different. Maybe you want to be the person who speaks once instead of 0 times. That is progress. Maybe you want to send the voice message without recording it 15 times. Progress. Maybe you want to ask a question even when your heart beats faster. Progress. Maybe you want to stop apologizing for your English before every sentence. That is a big one. Stop saying, sorry, my English is very bad, before anyone has even heard you. You are teaching yourself shame before communication begins. If necessary, say, I'm still learning English. That is enough, but you do not owe everyone an apology for being a learner. Say, I'm still learning, but I'll try. Repeat, I'm still learning, but I'll try. That has a completely different energy. Now imagine someone compliments your English. What do you normally do? Maybe, no, my English is terrible. Stop. Receive the progress. Say, thank you. I'm working on it. Repeat, thank you. I'm working on it. Good. Confidence also means allowing yourself to recognize improvement. You do not become humble by denying every strength. You become inaccurate. Now I want you to make one commitment for tomorrow. Not 7 commitments. 1. Complete. Tomorrow, I will use English when. Finish it. Make it specific. Tomorrow, I will use English when I send a message to. Tomorrow, I will ask one question in English when. Tomorrow, I will speak for 5 minutes with. Now say it again. That is your challenge. Then the next day, make it slightly harder. This is how courage grows. Not through one enormous act, through repeated decisions not to hide. Now let us do one final speaking round. I will give you 5 situations. Answer as if they are real. Situation 1. Someone asks you, what do you think? Answer immediately. Use any opinion. Go. Situation 2. You did not understand. Say what you need. Go. Situation 3. You forget a word. Explain around it. Go. Situation 4. Someone disagrees. Respond calmly. Go. Situation 5. You make a mistake. Correct and continue. Go. Excellent. Those are the moments that used to scare you. Now you have responses. That matters. I want you to end this lesson understanding one truth. You may never receive a magical day when fear disappears and somebody announces, "You are now confident enough to speak English." That is not how this works. Confidence is built in the moments when you decide to speak before you feel fully ready. The first time may feel uncomfortable. The second time may still feel uncomfortable. But then your brain begins collecting evidence. I spoke and survived. I made a mistake and continued. I asked a question and they understood. I forgot a word and found another way. I joined the conversation. I expressed my opinion. I was heard. Those memories begin replacing the old ones. And slowly, the question changes. Instead of, "What if I embarrass myself?" you begin thinking, "I've handled this before." That is confidence, not the absence of uncertainty. Experience stronger than uncertainty. So over the next 7 days, do not chase the feeling of confidence. Chase the behavior. Speak once when you normally would stay silent. Send the message. Ask the question. Give the opinion. Join the conversation. Correct the mistake. Try again. Each action becomes evidence, and evidence changes self-belief. Before we finish, I want you to say one sentence you may need to hear more than once. I am allowed to learn in public. Repeat. I am allowed to learn in public. Again. I am allowed to learn in public. Now. I am allowed to pause. Repeat. I am allowed to pause. I am allowed to make mistakes. Repeat. I am allowed to make mistakes. I am allowed to ask people to repeat. Repeat. I am allowed to ask people to repeat. I am allowed to speak before I feel completely confident. Repeat. I am allowed to speak before I feel completely confident. Good. Now the final one. I will not hide all the English I already know. Say it. I will not hide all the English I already know. Again. I will not hide all the English I already know. Take that sentence with you. Because there is probably more English inside you than other people ever get to hear. Not because you cannot speak, because fear keeps deciding when your voice is allowed to appear. For the next 7 days, change that relationship. Do not attack fear. Do not hate yourself for feeling nervous. Do something much more powerful. Speak while it is there. Give your nervous voice a sentence, then another. Give your uncertain English a chance to communicate. Give yourself evidence that you can survive being imperfect and visible at the same time. And when you notice yourself becoming quieter because someone else speaks better, remember, you still belong in the conversation. When you forget a word, remember, you can explain. When you make a mistake, remember, you can continue. When someone does not understand, remember, you can try again. When your heart beats faster, remember, nervous is not the same as incapable. And when your mind tells you, stay silent until your English is better, answer it with action. Speak. Because better English is built partly through the conversations you are currently afraid to have. So do not spend the next 7 days hiding your English and hoping confidence arrives. Use your English and give confidence something to grow from. One voice message, one question, one opinion, one conversation, one mistake survived, one moment when you normally would have stayed silent, but this time you spoke. That is how you begin. And 7 days from now, I do not want you asking, did I become fearless? Ask, did fear control me less? If the answer is yes, you changed something important. If you spoke when you normally would have hidden, you changed something important. If you heard your own voice and did not immediately attack it, you changed something important. If you allowed another person to hear your imperfect English, you changed something important. That is speaking confidence, not perfection, permission, practice, presence, and courage repeated often enough that your voice begins feeling like it belongs in English too. So when this video ends, do one thing before watching anything else. Say 1 full minute of English aloud. Do not prepare. Talk about what you are going to do today. Speak clearly enough to hear yourself. Do not restart. Do not apologize. Do not hide. Finish the minute. Then smile at the fact that you did something your fear would have preferred you avoid. Tomorrow, do one thing slightly harder. Then again. 7 days, 7 chances to become more visible. And every time you speak, remember, your English does not need to be perfect to deserve a voice. Use it.